So what is stillness, and why would stillness be something that's important? And really, when it comes down to it, you cannot find quiet. You cannot find a sense of inner self. You cannot really ground yourself unless you slow down and hold still for a minute. So a lot of times we're getting kicked up emotionally or stress, trying to transition into the next phase of whatever's going to happen here. We all want to know and plan and predict, and that somehow makes us feel a little bit better. But it's just part of the game, because you can never actually know, you cannot actually predict. You actually feel better when you withdraw from that, when you can see that and pull in, find some quiet. I think about a lot as somebody who loves scuba diving, that moment when you drop in the water and you drop below it all, and you can be in a storm on the surface, and when you drop below it, just that sensation of looking up and seeing the storm on the surface, and yet here I am, and I'm fine. And I'm not separate from it, I'm not immune to the storm, but I'm underneath it. So doing that then, when our life is chaotic, or when we're chaotic, even if our life isn't, when we feel chaotic, there's always a place to drop into. You just can't get there if you're frenetic, if your life is frenetic, if you're running from thing to thing. The only way you will eventually be able to find that is to create enough stillness, enough space where you can get quiet. If you think about how most of us, what's normalized in how we live right now, there is no space for quiet anymore. It is phones, texts, social media, commuting, dinner, chores, coming and going, extracurricular, all of it. Even at the extracurricular, there's phones, there's scheduling, there's working while you're there. We've totally dismissed the concept of just being still. And it's almost like there's a level where we understand that, because you see in the media now, presence, mindfulness, meditation, all of those pieces, they hold so much power, and people really gravitate to it. And I honestly think that's because it's hitting on a level of truth that we know. It's also a little bit problematic because now those terms are out there, and they're everywhere. They're prolific in social media and conversation, just people talking about being present, to the point that those phrases themselves have become dilute, and we've almost devoured them in our frenetic way, and now we apply them frenetically to things. So being present no longer means being in the isness of the moment and being in your experience. It means thinking focused intently on what I'm doing right now. Right now I'm doing the dishes, and I'm just thinking about doing the dishes, and I'm really scrubbing the dishes, and I'm doing that. But I'm still really just addicted to and stuck in the thinking mind. That calmness, that quietness, that healing, that only happens when we bypass the thinking mind. So when we use presence to get stuck in the thinking mind, when we go for moments in nature and we blare our music, when we commute somewhere and we talk incessantly on the phone, when we sit down at the end of the day and go right on social media, all of those things, you might be in a moment that could be quiet, but you're frenetic in it. So practicing slowing down isn't a intellectual concept, it's an experiential. It starts by making time in our day to just be quiet, to slow down, whatever that's going to look like for you. For me, that might actually mean just sitting sometimes. It might mean walking or running quietly. It might mean, just being still, even if it is during a commute to a clinic or something in between. So when we drop into create space for us to be calm through stillness, we find incredible access to presence, to this moment, and to healing.